Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Martha and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back and thank you for joining me every single day that you do. So today I woke up and I knew I had a mission, and that was to use up all these vine ripened tomatoes. Yes, it's the middle of the winter. I know they're not in season right now. They were on a good deal at Sam's. I seen them, they looked delicious. And I brought them home and I'm like, I'm gonna use these and we're gonna eat them before they go bad. So one way to make an out of season tomato taste delicious is to roast it. You're condensing all those flavors and you're just making it taste a lot better than if you were just to slice it and throw it on a sandwich, because they weren't ripened in the sun. They didn't get all that beautiful deliciousness from the sun. So all we're going to do, oh, and here is some vegetables that I chopped yesterday. And we just have red onion, some carrots, and celery. And I cut them up in big chunks for like a skillet meal, or a sheet pan meal. And I decided, hey, instead of cutting more today, I'm gonna use those. So to make these roast a little bit faster, we are going to cut them in half. And I decided to use my roaster. Now I got some questions about this roaster, which I was kind of surprised about, because I grew up like my grandmother using this, and not this exact one of course, but one like it. And to me it was like you weren't an adult until you had one of these. So as soon as I got out on my own, I got one. Well, several moves later in a divorce and I didn't have it. So I went to Walmart about 10 years ago and seeing them. Not sponsored, just had to have one, because to me that meant being an adult. And I love the fact that it has a nice lid that fits well on top, and you can fit most meats in here. So yeah, that's my roast pan story. But I'm going to use this since tomatoes get juicy, and as I told you, sadly I broke my large cookie sheet or sheet pan, so I don't have a large enough rimmed baking sheet. So you can use whatever works for you. We just want to roast these down, and we want to get them on the bottom of the pan, because I find when you roast tomatoes, having them touch as much surface area as you can get them to on the pan just makes them taste that much more flavorful, especially store-bought tomatoes, which we all know what Jess at Roots and Refuge says about store-bought tomatoes. All right. Now, what I've done in the past to help them release some of that moisture and condense is just put a little bit of salt down on the cut side. And now I'm just going to put the cut side down on the bottom of my pan. There's really nothing hard about this recipe, but it's one of those dishes that's gonna taste like it came from a chef's kitchen. You just have to put in a little bit of effort, not much at all. I actually think this recipe is one of the easiest soups because it doesn't take that long. Blended soups are pretty quick to make. Now, I am going to use some substitutions. I like to cook with what I have on hand. I don't have vegetable broth, but I do have chicken broth, so I'm going to use that. And, oh, we don't drink cow's milk, so there will be no heavy cream. But I will be using almond milk. And that's the only one I can think of at the moment. Oh, it doesn't call for celery, but I had celery and carrots and onions, so I just decided to go ahead and use this frozen mix. Okay, just gonna finish these last few tomatoes. Pour the veggies on top, pour a little bit of olive oil over everything, and I should have put oil on the bottom of the pan, which I'm going to do right now, because I do not want these tomatoes to burn and stick to the bottom. Now I'm just moving them around in the oil so that the oil is underneath of the tomatoes. Alrighty, looks good, and it already smells good with just the tomatoes and the salt. This one is just a little blemish. Cut that off. Perfect. I'm not coring or seeding these tomatoes. We're just gonna roast them. I want all that tomatoey goodness. It's the middle of, or it's almost the end of January, and I am ready for something that tastes somewhat like summer. You get me? I mean, we all gotta be there by this point. All right, now I'm just gonna dump in my vegetables. That's all I did, just spread them over the top. I'm just gonna drizzle over. And yeah, the veggies are a little bit frozen, but those tomatoes would have probably taken a little bit longer to cook through. So it'll all work out in the end. All right, make sure everything's coated in the oil. I am going to wash my hands real fast and then sprinkle everything with some Italian seasoning and other seasonings. Alrighty, just going to put just a little bit of salt since I put the salt underneath the tomatoes. Italian seasoning. I have my oven preheating at 350 behind me, and I'm going to roast these for about an hour, just depending on how long it takes to cook the tomatoes down. You can put it at 325 if you need it to take a little bit of time, or throw it in the slow cooker. But the slow cooker is not going to dehydrate the tomatoes like roasting them in the oven would. I mean, not that they're going to be fully dehydrated, but they will lose some of their moisture, which is what we want. All right, so I just added some onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, Italian seasoning, and some seasoned salt, and some oil, and I'm gonna pop these babies in the oven, and then we will come back when they're finished cooking, and we will finish this soup. Also, to go along with the soup, we are going to have some grilled cheese sandwiches. Alrighty, I've got all the vegetables roasted up. Now we're going to puree them down. I'm going to use the food processor. Hopefully I can get them smooth enough. If you had an immersion blender, you could throw them in your soup pot and blend them that way. I don't. So this is what we're going to try. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Man, does this smell good. It smells so good. I ended up making this earlier in the day because I knew things tend to get busy in the afternoon. So I just roasted these off and threw them in the fridge, and they've been sitting in there. Okay, I'm just going to do this much right now. I'm not going to make you listen to this part. Alrighty, I got it in my pot, all pureed. I put a little bit of sour cream in there, and now I'm going to add some chicken broth and some milk, and we're gonna warm it through. If I had Parmesan cheese, I think I would probably add a little bit of that too. Whoops, kicked the camera there. I don't want it to be too loose, you know what I mean? I want it to have some body. Grab my spoon. Ooh, man, does this ever smell good. Now it just needs to warm through. I think I like the thickness. I didn't use the whole 2 cups of chicken broth, but I have it here off to the side in case I want to add some more. And I used about a half a cup of almond milk. I'll put the recipe for this down in the description box. Since we don't need to make vegetables, that's literally a vegetable soup, let's make some turkey and cheese sandwiches that we're going to put into the air fryer. These are some turkey or some cheese bagels that I made this morning, and we're going to make some turkey and cheese sandwiches. I'm not going to butter these. I'm just going to put them in there the way they are because they have a little oil on the bottom from the cheese that they were cooked with. And I'm also not going to put a lot of cheese in them since they already have cheese on the outside. Just going to take a few pieces of smoked turkey. And like I said, just a little bit of cheese. And then I'm going to pop them into the air fryer at 375 for probably like 15 minutes. I don't know, maybe 10. I'm not sure how long they're going to need. I'll probably do 15 and then the air fryer will be halfway and then I'll know how long they'll actually take. Alrighty. Drop just a little bit of cheese. Alright, in the air fryer they're gonna go, and the soup is getting hot, so as soon as these sandwiches are done, we're gonna eat. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again the next time we're in the kitchen.